Senate Majority Leader John Thune criticizing the Democrats' health care proposals yesterday. Watch.
Republicans have made it very clear that we would like to work with Democrats to address the affordability of health care and find solutions that actually reduce costs. But as Democrats have made clear with this, quote, clean bill, they're not really after health care solutions. They seem to be okay with a 90% fraud rate. They're after a political issue to attempt to batter Republicans with during this next election year.
And the Senate is expected to vote as early as this Thursday on the Democrats' plan to extend those tax credits for 3 years. Republicans are floating a different idea. They're floating a number of health care plans, actually. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul offering the, quote, Health Marketplace and Savings Accounts for All Act, which would make all Americans eligible for health savings accounts, expand association health plans to provide maximum leverage, and negotiate lower premiums. House Speaker Mike Johnson expected to release the GOP-backed plan by the end of the week, something Congressman Dan Muser confirmed to me in the last hour. But let's get right with Rand Paul. Joining me now is the Kentucky Senator on Capitol Hill. Senator, good to see you.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Great to be with you.
And you say your proposal will improve health care and lower costs. Walk us through it.
This is an idea I've been talking about for several years, and President Trump has engaged on this idea. In his first term, he actually tried to put it in place through an executive order, but the Democrats sued in court and stopped us. Basically, it allows people to buy insurance as a group. So if you're an individual accountant and you have 3 employees, or you're a landscaper and have 4 employees, you're a small group and you don't have any leverage to get a better price from big insurance companies. But what if you could join Costco? Costco has 44 million members, and if one person negotiated for all 44 and they bought a group plan like Toyota or General Motors does, they would be the largest corporate or largest collective entity in the country. They would drive prices down by sheer might and leverage. In all likelihood, whoever was in charge of the buying group would sit down with the CEO of United Healthcare and Blue Cross, and they would have to negotiate, and they would get things that nobody's been able to get in the past. So this is an idea of letting people join a group, like a co-op or a collective, to bargain together, and they're called association health plans. We have them to a small extent, but they're tiny. They're a few hundred people, a few thousand people. What I'm conceiving of is nationwide, across state boundaries, and millions of people together in one group. So instead of big insurance being here and the little guy here with no leverage, all of a sudden the collective could be as big as the insurance company and have real negotiating power.
That is really interesting. And I want to get your take on when this might play out. Are you expecting action on this by the end of the year?
There's going to be a vote this week, and there is rumor that there may not be a Republican proposal put forward. I think we should put forward a proposal, including my association health plans and including my idea to let everybody in America have a health savings account. See, I don't think it's really fair. I have a health savings account, and 3 of my kids had to have braces or orthodontics. I did them with pre-tax money in my HSA, but 90% of Americans aren't eligible. Why? Because the law just says your insurance, you're not allowed to buy an HSA. Everybody in America ought to be able to save with an HSA. And then when you have those dollars, if 100% of us were looking at those dollars and trying to spend them wisely, we help to drive prices down also.
So we're going to see a vote on the Democrats' plan, which they want the subsidies extended for 3 years. What specifically are you expecting a vote this week?
I think that's what's going to happen, and it'll fail. I think it may be party line because, 1, we're $2 trillion in the hole, and 2, it hadn't been working. For 15 years, we've been giving people money to buy insurance, Obamacare. President Obama promised the premiums would go down. Instead, the premiums have skyrocketed. Every time we give people a little more money, the premium goes up even higher. So all we're doing is feeding big insurance, and there's a lot of fraud in the programs. And then the Democrats are giving money to people making $400,000 a year. You're not going to get a lot of sympathy from Americans saying, oh, you only make $400,000 a year. You really need a subsidy. I mean, that's crazy. They're putting this out, a proposal that gives money to people who make $400,000 a year. It's not as popular as they think it is. It hasn't worked. We need to try something new. I've been talking to many Democrats about my plan because I tell them, look, it's collective bargaining for the consumer. You know, typically Democrats have been in favor of collective collective bargaining? That's what my plan is, collective bargaining for the consumer. That's consumers band together collectively, have large size and leverage to drive prices down.
All right, that's all. We'll be watching all of that, but I want to get your take also on the defense budget and what's happening here in terms of the annual defense policy bill. $900 billion defense budget. Congress is adding a provision to the annual NDAA requiring the Pentagon to hand over unedited videos of the strikes on suspected narco-terrorist boats. Lawmakers will withhold 25% of Secretary Pete Hegseth's travel budget until the footage is provided to the House and Senate Armed Services Committees. Senator, you're the chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. You're calling on Hegseth to testify under oath about these strikes. What do you want to know? Tell us.
Well, I mean, it has not been the history of the United States to kill people who are out of combat. Even if there's a war, which most of us dispute that a bunch of people who are unarmed running drugs, allegedly running drugs, is a war, we still don't kill people when they're incapacitated. People floating around in the water, clinging to the wreckage of a ship, are not in combat under any definition. And the reason we don't kill them is we don't want people to kill our soldiers. So if our pilots are parachuting from a plane, the rules of war have been we don't shoot people dangling from a parachute. We don't shoot the wreckage of a ship that's being sunk. We pull people from the water, and they may become prisoners of war, but they're treated humanely. If we want to live in a world where we just shoot people, that's what the world will do to us. So to protect our soldiers, we live by a code of conduct. And often we live by a higher standard than the rest of the world, but we can't go around just shooting people who are unarmed adrift in the ocean. It's a terrible thing. It's illegal and it's immoral.
Yeah, no, I understand that for sure. But Senator, are you questioning whether or not these were actually narco-terrorists?
Nobody knows if they are because nobody's presenting any evidence. Nobody knows if they're armed. Some of them in all likelihood are. But, you know, when the Coast Guard picks people up, we've been doing this for 30 years. When the Coast Guard picks up boats off of Venezuela, which we have done historically, about 1 in 4 of the boats, maybe 1 in 5, don't have drugs. So we make mistakes. Are we willing to execute people with a 20% error rate? No, I think it's crazy. And then, so at first we were executing them, and then 2 months later we're plucking them from the water and rescuing them, but we weren't trying them. We weren't saying, "Who take us to your leader?" We weren't saying, "Who's the drug kingpin that's doing this?" We didn't even lift any drugs out of the water. We didn't test them for drugs, and we let them go home. We said, "Okay, well, we killed all your boat mates, but you can go back to," and it wasn't even Venezuela. You go back to Colombia and Ecuador. So this is an insane policy. It's inconsistent. It's not war, and it's not the way we've ever done this. Think about it. If we can blow up a boat in the ocean that is at war with us because of the drugs, what about when they get to Miami and they put it in a truck, and the truck's going from Miami to Orlando? Can you shoot a grenade launcher at the truck? No, we arrest people because sometimes we're wrong. You know, the make and the model of the truck is this, and oh, we made a mistake. That was somebody on vacation. We don't blow up people without first arresting them. And this is the way it's been done on the high seas for 100 years or more. And what we're doing now is just plain wrong. Eventually, people are going to recognize this.
Have you heard back from Pete Hegseth? Will the secretary testify? Are you expecting this year?
He needs to show the video because the American public's going to be outraged. I've only heard descriptions of the video. He needs to do that. He needs to testify, and he needs to quit killing unarmed people on the ocean. It's a terrible thing for America to do.
Senator, let me switch gears and ask you about the president's agenda. And, of course, President Trump is headed to Pennsylvania today to talk about affordability and prove the point that his policies have been making America affordable again. It comes as a new Harvard-Harris poll shows 57% of voters say the president is, quote, losing the battle against inflation. And they're split on whether the economy was better or worse under Trump versus Biden. Still, a majority say they trust Republicans to manage the economy better than Democrats. How do you see this?
The problem is if you promise people that prices will go down, prices haven't gone down in a sustained fashion since the Great Depression, and really wasn't working out so well when the prices were declining at that point. So we're building on 20% inflation in 4 years of Biden, and now we have 2 or 3 points more. So over the last 5 years, prices have gone up about 25%. A lot of people's salaries haven't gone up that fast, so they're feeling the squeeze and hurt of inflation. But the 20% inflation or price rise that happened under Biden doesn't go away. So what Trump has done, and I think it is admirable, if we slow down the rate of inflation, it's between 2 and 3%, but it still means prices go up, not down. So it's very hard to convince the consumer, whose prices are up 25% over the last 5 years, that things are that much better. It's going to take a while. But the one thing we could do as Congress is to balance our budget. Inflation comes from monetizing the debt. When the Fed buys the debt, they buy it with new money. The new money enters circulation and devalues the money that's in circulation. So inflation has a cause. It's not a mystery. Inflation is caused by the financing of our national debt. We need to have less debt and add less debt to the national debt we already have incurred.
Well, I mean, obviously, you've got a couple of legislative days left to get lots done in the Senate. What are your priorities before year end, Senator? And are you worried that if you don't get the NDAA straight by year end, or certainly by January 30th, you're going to face another government shutdown by your colleagues?
The NDAA is bad on a lot of fronts. One of the things it also does is it tells President Trump he can't move troops around. I think this is unconstitutional. It tells President Trump that he has to ask permission from NATO and consult with NATO before he moves any troops in Europe. That's nobody's business but America's business. America, our soldiers work for us. They don't work for Europe. They don't work for NATO. Our soldiers can be moved around at the will of the president. It is the prerogative of the president. But they have buried in the NDAA legislation that says that President Trump can't move troops around without asking permission. I think that's wrong, and I'll vote against it.
All right, we will leave it there. Senator, thank you. We'll be watching your work, certainly. Good to see you. Senator Rand Paul. We'll be right back. Stay with us.